Let's go to this now. President Cyril Ramaphosa will launch the Border Management Authority as South Africa's third law enforcement agency today. He will host his Zimbabwean counterpart Emmerson Mnangagwa at the event. The division was established to ensure the country's borders remain secure. eNCA's Moloko Moloto joins us at the Beitbridge border for the latest. Moloko, how's it going there? Has the president already come there to address the people who have gathered? Have you caught a glimpse of him and the Zimbabwean president?
Well, good afternoon, Masero Ratlaga. The President Cyril Ramaphosa has been here for quite some time now. He was joined by his Zimbabwean counterpart, Emmerson Mnangagwa, who together toured the Beitbridge border post. And of course, they also made some time to address the members of the media without necessarily taking questions. And I want to ask my colleague Mohammed to show you this men and women who have been recruited as border guards. These are the people who will physically be manning our borderline, particularly in problematic areas such as this one and many others where illegal crossing tends to be rife. Initially, and that was last year in July, the Minister of Home Affairs, Aaron Motsoaledi, announced, and he also came here in the border town of Musina. He said that 200 border guards had been employed at that time, and they will be manning the borderlines. They have since augmented that number. I have seen reports indicating that they actually hired 400 more. We will, of course, make an opportunity to speak to him so that he can confirm a whole lot of other things. But essentially, this particular Border Management Authority, it is the first entity of its own kind in South Africa, which is going to be taking full control in terms of managing our borders. I mean, it took the government over 20 years to understand the fact that they had to do something about our porous borders, considering the number of undocumented people who are crossing from Zimbabwe in particular into South Africa and of course other parts of the SADC region. So essentially this is just symbolic, because this particular Border Management Authority has been officially in place since the 1st of April, Masero, this year. That's when it stepped out of the Department of Home Affairs where it was being incubated. So the expectation therefore is that these men and women henceforth, especially now that the numbers are being augmented, they should be able to stop people who will be crossing the Limpopo River onto this side coming into South Africa without papers. They have the authority to effect arrest, and they have been trained, and I understand that their commissioner, Dr. Mike Masiapato, he is at the level of the South African National Police Commissioner. So it is a unit that on its own has authority to manage our borders.
And Moloko, of course, we know that, you speak about initially last year when the Home Affairs Minister spoke to Parliament about the Border Management Authority. He did say that they'd be looking at the 6 problematic ports in South Africa, Beitbridge, Libombo, etc. But now that we have this new cohort joining them, it means all over 70 ports will be looked after?
Yes, I mean, I don't think all these people, 600 of them, if indeed they will be adding 400 more onto the 200 who were recruited and employed last year, I don't think all of them would be stationed in one borderline. Yeah. They certainly will be deployed in all the other problematic borders. You will understand that South Africa has about 72 ports of entry. Others, of course, many of those, over 50 50 of them are land ports, others are maritime, and also 11 international airports. So if you go to OR Tambo, for instance, you will see a few of this, and if you go to other ports of entry, you will see them. But in the main, they will not necessarily be stationed at the border gate itself. They will have to go and man and manage the actual borderline, and we are told that at some point they will be even deploying technology using the drones to monitor the movement of people. Ironically, as we were driving into this border town of Musina this morning, just driving along the N1, we could see some of the people who clearly are undocumented foreigners, some of them carrying children on their back, crossing the freeway, coming into South Africa. So it would seem that even since they have been in operation since last year, they really haven't been able to completely stop the illegal crossing of this. You would also recall that the government did at some point make an effort. I'm not too sure if it was enough, considering the fact that that particular fence that was put in place by the Department of Public Works, they spent over 40 million rand to erect that particular fence. We have been there, Marcelo. It's a shame. It's a disgrace, because it doesn't stop anyone from crossing. So it was just a waste of money. Unfortunately, money down the drain. This is one other effort to stop the crossing of undocumented foreign nationals. Maybe this will kind of like have an effect. There's also an issue of corruption, which government has on several occasions admitted that you do have some of the officials who would be bribed and all this and that. Are these ones insulated? Are these ones going to resist attempts by people who are smuggling all sorts of things? You could talk of cigarette, you could talk of also the trafficking of human beings and all that. Is this the panacea that South Africa has always been waiting for? Of course, we heard from President Cyril Ramaphosa, as well as President Emmerson Mnangagwa of Zimbabwe, saying that this will help to facilitate the smooth movement of both people and goods, and it will increase our trade relations. And we obviously wanted to know from particularly the Zimbabwean president whether he feels ashamed at the fact that South Africa has had to make this effort trying to stop people running away from his own country. He really did not even want to talk to us about that. Otherwise, they are placing this as an effort that they believe will enhance trade relations between the two neighboring countries.
And that's what I was going to ask you, Moloko, rather quite a big thing to get the buy-in of neighboring countries, because as South Africa, we can put all the measures together, right, Moloko, have the border guards and the border management control authority actually becoming a part of law enforcement. But as long as we don't have buy-in from all our neighboring countries, it wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work, because I suppose the main reason why people are fleeing from their own countries, it is for various reasons, be it economic reasons. When they come here, they hope that they will get better economic opportunities. So those are the issues, and you can even hear the tone even from the governing African National Congress. This is a matter that they already are discussing it, even in their policy conference, even in their national conference in December. It was one of the talking points to say we need to have a hand in terms of who comes into the country, who is permitted to come into the country, but also generally it certainly is going to be an election issue. Since we are now going into the elections next year, you're going to have people who are going to be whipping people's emotions in South Africa, essentially trying to capture their imagination so that they can vote for them, hoping that they will be doing something about this. But the governing African National Congress will also tell you that this is one of those efforts where they certainly are making it a point that they control the movement. Of course, the Musina or the Beit Bridge border post and the borderline are not only the only problematic borderline. If you go to Lesotho, for instance, where people are coming into South Africa, with guns. So all those are the issues that perhaps this particular new border management agency will have to address.
All right, Moloko Moloto, live for us at the Beitbridge border post, where the president is officially launching the Border Management Authority, officially as part of law enforcement when it comes to all our borders in South Africa.